know if we could use something to put in the business.
He's a cutie though, man. Is he just a puppy, huh? He'll be that size when he gets big? Yeah. My neighbors had one and he had all these nasal problems and all that. Yeah. They're the most popular dog.
Choo choo. Look, I gotta put this over here. You wanna help me? Let's see.
Yeah, we didn't bring a bell, but we're going to get started. I want to start by thanking everybody. Yeah. I just want to thank everybody for coming and for joining us to celebrate Mom. And we're going to just have kind of a short program of Kim's going to start us off with a prayer in just a second. And then we have a few friends and family members that are going to say a few words. Mom's good friend Nancy is going to share some words that her best friend Jeannie wrote. Jeannie unfortunately is not able to be here with us, but she's here in spirit. Mom's friend Jeannie. And yeah, Nancy will read her words, and then Mike and Don, my brothers, will share some memories, and then we'll open up the floor for anybody else that wants to share any memories as well. Obviously, Mom is really well represented here with her art and photos and things like that. We have a couple of extra photos that Mike brought, obituary cards and cards that I put together. You guys feel free to take those things and just interact with anything that you see around you. Stuff on the table, and don't be afraid to touch things and look through things and just kind of experience Mom being here with us. Dr. LeBlanc, I see, has just joined us. Welcome, Dr. LeBlanc. I'm really grateful that you're here as well. We're just going to speak. There was one other thing I wanted to remind everybody to, if you could, I know everybody as they came were filling in the guest book and kind of signing in. I'd love it if everybody, if you have a memory you'd love to share, put it in that book and we can collect those there. That would be a great leave behind for us to take with us, my brothers and I. And I think that's it. I'm going to hand it off to Kim, and she's going to open us up with a prayer. Thanks so much for coming, everybody.
Hi. You can all maybe just close your eyes and bow your heads. Lord, we just thank you for this day, that we can all meet here together to remember our mother, sister, daughter, mother-in-law, Jeannie, Meyer, and think upon all the ways that she has influenced our lives and lived. Lord, we just want to ask your blessing upon this day and upon everyone who came, and remember those who are not here, but wish they could be. Father, we just know that all of our days are in your hands, as was Jeannie's, and we just thank you for the gift of her, and that we could be here together to remember her. Amen.
Amen.
Next, who will speak is Nancy, my mother-in-law's very old friend from a long time ago, and she is reading the words of another old friend, Jeannie, who could not be here today. So thank you for representing.
My pleasure. So this is from Jeannie Leonard Maloney. In memory of my best friend, Jeannie. Even though my heart is so broken, I wanted to give you a brief synopsis of our time together and to celebrate Jeannie's life. This is what she meant to me. First, she was the epitome of my childhood. We did everything together. For almost 65 years, we were best friends in the truest sense. We played jump rope, hopscotch, rode bikes to places we weren't allowed to go. We skated with metal skates that had a key slung around our necks. We played communion with Necco wafers, each taking turns pretending to be the priest. And we even made our own Chinese jump ropes out of old rope bands. We were constantly playing ball and jacks, which was one of our favorite pastimes. We ate tons of candy, from pixie sticks to jawbreakers, candy cigarettes and wax Coke bottles, sweet tarts and Valentine hearts, double bubble gum and Milky Ways, to everything in between. We even senselessly wad up so much gum in our mouths to see how much we could fit. Choking never occurred to us. We dressed alike as often as we pleased, and especially had matching costumes for Halloween, our favorite time of the year. We would make my mom walk with us for hours to trick or treat for candy, and then beg her for just one more block. Back home again, we would spread our treasures all over our den floor and begin the process of separating everything into stacks of gums, pixie sticks, chocolate bars, hard candy, and stuff we didn't like. Then we started in on the trading of this candy for that, always winding up with our favorites. Dad stood vigilant in the background, waiting like a vulture for our discards. We had sleepovers all the time, and Jeannie always loved eating at our house. She would run inside from playing and ask my mom for a hunk of cheese, which Mom always willingly obliged. Daddy's Sunday barbecues almost always included hamburgers. As tiny as Jeannie was, she could pile away 2 or 3 burgers, more than any of us, gifting her the nickname of Bottomless Pit, lovingly bestowed on her by Dad. The time we were about 10 and 11, we were outside my house playing Not It with some neighborhood kids. We had a beautiful magnolia fuscata tree in our front yard that Jeannie decided to climb in to get away from her pursuers. I turned around for a second and heard a pitiful scream. Jeannie was lying face down on the ground, pulling out tufts of grass as she moaned. Running to get Mom, she quickly determined that Jeannie's arm must be broken. Miss Janet came right away to get her, and there was no way I was letting her go to the ER without me. Miss Janet didn't object. Jeannie was my best friend, and she knew that. Jeannie's claim to fame was that she was the only kid ever to fall out of our tree and break a bone. Another funny thing that happened in our lives as middle school kids was the summer that Jeannie was in the Girl Scouts. I remember as if it were yesterday. We were sitting on my front porch step, as we often did, talking about all kinds of goofiness. She said she had just learned a new song at Girl Scouts and proceeded to sing it to me. I was mystified at the positivity, nonsensical words that she was using, accompanied by a tune so catchy to my ears. I immediately had to learn the song and asked her to teach it to me. Much to my disappointment and utter profound hurt, she told me only Girl Scouts knew the song, and she was not allowed to teach anyone who was not in their club. She may as well have punched me in the stomach. As I said before, we did everything together, and I was having none of this. Thus, I started in on my campaign of begging her to teach me, more like pleading, to tell you the truth. I began to wear her down as she started to give up one line at a time. Over about a week, I finally got the whole song out of her. I think she ultimately realized that she couldn't keep something so important from her best friend. The song is so silly, but I can still remember the words and melody today. Do you have that recording?
I don't have it queued up, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I've got it. Let me see.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know if we can.
There you go.
Easy.
I'm glad you had that. Although we didn't go to the same high school, we always stayed in contact, filling each other in on the latest boy crush or craze. After each of us were married and had our children, we were there for each other every step of the way. From birth to divorces. There was nothing we couldn't handle together. Even our children had many fun times playing, including the time they decided it was a hilarious idea to throw darts at each other's feet, trying to miss their target. Unfortunately, that didn't fare out too well for one of them. After our children had grown and flew the nest, we began to get closer than ever, especially when she was diagnosed with cancer for the first time. There was nothing I wouldn't do for her. Per her request, I brought my makeup to the hospital in the early morning hours after her lung surgery. She then asked me to apply it to her bare face so she could look pretty for her handsome doctor when he came in to check on her. She could make me laugh hysterically, was artistically brilliant in so many ways, had unwavering faith in our God, and was Catholic through and through. She could light up a room by just walking into it and had presence of both grace and class. She was truly an amazing human being and never let on how bad she was feeling. I miss her so much. She will always be the sister I never had, the friend that I have always had, and our two hearts will share as one forever. It's from Jeannie, Leonard. Thank you.
All right, everybody. I'm the oldest son of Michael, for those of you that don't know me. Thank you for coming, Dr. LeBlanc. Thank you. There's a couple ways to do this. One is improv, ad-lib, and one is to write everything down so that I don't forget anything important. I'm going to do kind of a combination of the two. If you can't hear me, let me know. I'll speak up. I haven't cried yet, so I assume that this is going to be my time. And I'm a nurse, and I know breathing is important, so I think a lot of this crying comes from just lack of oxygen and tension, so I'm going to try and breathe through this. If anybody else wants to join me, that would be nice. So the last time that I was in this position was probably about 2 years ago as a hospice nurse, and I took care of a husband and wife. The wife was 99, her name was Ruth, and the husband was Carl. He was the first ER doctor in Mississippi. Prior to that, there were just your primary care doctor would be in charge of the ER, and they would take shifts. And they were just the loveliest family, and they had a son, Ray, and daughter, Patty, and they just took me into their home. And I was part of their family for many years. And Carl didn't want to have a funeral until they wanted to have their funeral together. So we waited for Carl to pass, and then we had a joint funeral, and I spoke at that. And I'm glad that I did. It was a good memory for me, and it was important for me to do that as well. Just to kind of share some of the experiences that I had with them. I would sit with her, and sometimes she would talk to me and tell me stories for 45 minutes, or sometimes she wasn't feeling good, and I would sit with her and talk to her for 45 minutes. And both of those were just beautiful experiences for years with them. Ray is a Buddhist practitioner, and Ray shared the things that he's learned in Buddhism, and I'm going to read it because it's pertinent to where we're at today. It's called the 5 Remembrances. Number 1 is, I am of the nature to grow old. I cannot escape old age. Number 2, I am of the nature to have ill health. I cannot escape ill health. I am of the nature to die. I cannot escape leaving this body behind. All the things I cherish and all the ones I love are of the nature to change. I cannot escape being separated from all I hold dear. And lastly, my actions are my only true possessions. I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. They are the ground upon which I walk. And when he was going through this with his parents, this is one of the things that he would read to his mother. And I just thought it was fitting because it's kind of taken a place in my personal philosophy. I'd also like to read her obituary, and I know that it's on the back of the cards and everybody's probably read it, but Susan Jeannie Meyer Spade has left us to meet her Lord and reunite with her parents, Louis and Janet Meyer. Jeannie was a beautiful shining star within the constellation of her expansive family, including her brothers Bill, Stephen, Larry, and sister MJ. Her 3 sons, Michael, Jason, and Donald, their spouses, Dawn, Kim, Janae, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and all of Jeannie's countless close friends and relatives will miss her, forever miss her. We are all blessed by the love that Jeannie selflessly offered the entirety of her 68 years. She was a tireless mother, an enthusiastic teacher, a creative and hardworking artist, a loyal wife, a woman of faith, and an irreplaceable friend. Her courageous, honest, and strong, loving spirit is beyond admirable. Our hearts are heavy as her soul is lifted, and we sing joy to her memory and celebrate her beautiful life. A special thanks goes to Dr. David St. Germain, Dr. Dale LeBlanc, Dr. Edwin Menina, Dr. Suarez, and the team at Notre Dame Hospice, and all the countless other healthcare providers that supported Jeannie with loving, patient, compassionate care throughout the years. This page here, this is what she wanted us to do. This was her thing. I don't even know if you've seen this thing, but it's just some directions of if we had a funeral. She just wanted it to be a simple funeral like this, not a standard funeral, just with her friends and family, and a celebration, not a mourning. So I think that we've accomplished this. And this location here is so important because we grew up here. I don't know how many times we've came here as children, but I mean, it's got to be in the thousands. We have pictures on this tree with the 3 of us through decades of the 3 of us on that tree together. And these bridges out here, the fairy painting out there, in the middle of that painting is the bridge that's directly outside those doors. There might even be another painting in here of that bridge, but this place was central to our growing up and our time. So when Donald found this location, it was just, it's unbelievable. This location, this day, the guy with the saxophone, it's just perfect. Like it couldn't be any better, and so. Let me see what we've got here. I talked about the paper. And really, I feel like, we've all come long distances to be here and to celebrate. And fortunately, this isn't a 30-minute, hurry up and have a funeral and we need you to go because we've got somebody else coming. We've got time. There's no urgency here. So I just want to just enjoy this. I do feel differently about funerals after this event today. I always said that I don't like weddings or funerals. To me, they were both in the same category. So, and then my wife just set up this beautiful wedding for us in Gatlinburg. So I feel differently about that now, and I feel differently about this now. I couldn't imagine having something like this even for myself. This is just perfection as far as I'm concerned. For the past few weeks since my mother has passed, I have not allowed myself to really think, feel, absorb the gravity of the loss. I was functioning and taking care of the countless things that I needed to take care of, and didn't want to risk becoming non-functional due to grief. I'm sure my brothers were running the same internal program. On my first day back to work, I was trying to take a nap prior to my long night shift ahead. A phrase popped into my head that I often use when I'm supporting my hospice families, reassuring them that they have done everything that they could, that what their loved one experiences is the natural order of things, that they're not missing anything, that they've done an exceptional job, and they should have no fear that they failed in any way or have any regret that they should have done something differently or that they missed something. And that's a pretty important thing for a hospice nurse to help guide families in. And when I started thinking about that for myself, I feel like we achieved those things, and that's how I felt, and I was glad that I felt that way. All of these thoughts started flooding into my mind as I was going through that, and just within 2 or 3 minutes, I just came up with like the whole picture of how I felt, and I wanted to get it down on paper because I didn't want to forget it. So basically, this is what I wrote. Mom, we hold these truths to be self-evident. I was blessed with the most amazing mother. She birthed me, nourished, protected, educated. She played, read, challenged. She sacrificed, loved unconditionally. She was attentive, interested, an advisor. She was my best friend. She is no longer. She passed knowing she never failed me. She passed with me knowing that I also never failed her. I pray my brothers know the same. I am imperfect. I learned many lessons, most lessons the hard way. She watched and mended me after these failures. She and my father were often bruised by my falls. For that, I'm sorry. But that's just part of parenting, I suppose. I wish I had done better for her, for them. But in a way that's nonsensical because they could not be prouder of the man I had become, my brothers as well. She was a philosopher, intuitive, introspective, and an empath. I am her in these ways and more. My brothers share these traits. We have grown tighter as a family through this experience, one last amazing gift from her. For 52 years, our invisible thread was unbreakable. It remains unbreakable despite her death. My mother, my father, my family, my friends. This is all that truly matters to me. Safety, love, comfort, calmness, contentment, inner peace, God, strive to be good. These, and only these, are the things we should search for, give life energy to. Everything else is distraction, escapism, and thumb-sucking. Joy and happiness will always be interlinked with distress, disease, suffering, stumbling. The trail of life is rocky and difficult to traverse. It's just part of it. It's non-optional. We achieve these values we seek through introspection, experience, and through service to others. These truths are not always self-evident. They require work, action, and distinct virtues. We decrease our own suffering when we assist others or suffer. We are loved more, experience love more when we give love. We are more joyful when we spread joy. We are more peaceful when we curb chaos rather than contribute to it. Be the first to smile at a stranger. We are all in a storm of some sort. This is the definition of a fulfilling human life to me. These are the things she taught me through her story, her life, her actions, her love. My greatest friend, my greatest teacher, from a family full of teachers. I have no regrets. She had no regrets. Even our failures were lessons of incalculable measure. Life is messy, but oh so sweet. Have the dessert first before the appetizer. The entree is not guaranteed. We were blessed to have 1,000 snowballs with her, many of which were in the last year. Coconut cream with condensed milk. And that's true. I mean, it's like, I can't, how many do we have? when I informed everybody in the way that I did that she had passed, the hardest for me was Dr. LeBlanc. And even harder than that was the snowball place, which I have not even gone to tell him yet, because I can't. They were so nice. I mean, she walked in and they knew her. They knew what to get her. It was just, it was unbelievable how much love they gave her. And taking Hazel and Hazel eating all of mine. Kiwi snowballs, Hazel. I'm almost finished. For decades, my personal license plates on my vehicle have been oversewn on my cars and lit down on my motorcycles. That's just a reminder to soak in every opportunity for love and connection and friendship and family. In my workshop, I've got a wall full of these retired plates from the many states around the country that I've worked as a nurse. Now my license plate says, "Let it go." We shared this saying as tattoos on our wrists. We have let it go tattoos. I will let the acute pain of her life ending go, but I'm going to hold on to it for a bit longer. It's okay for me and it's okay for you to do that, but only for a short while. Thank you, Mom. Your loving spirit continues on through us all. Next. Yes, we go soon.
Donald, Jeannie's youngest son, you don't know. I think Mom would approve of this day and of this. We didn't know this existed, this place's ballroom, until just a few weeks ago. We were looking for a place to have an event. What we wanted was, and what Mom wanted was, a celebration of life, a memorial. We all have Mom, Jeannie, in our hearts, and we were all in her heart. And she wanted us to remember, she wanted us to be together, and she wanted us to celebrate her and the time that we had with her. And when we found this place, this ballroom, like Mike said, City Park this was where we spent so much time in our childhoods. I think anybody who's lived or spent time in New Orleans knows City Park and how special this place is. In our later years, one of Mom's favorite places to go was which direction? It's the sculpture garden. It's over here, and every time, I live in Arizona, every time I came in, Mom and I would go to the sculpture garden. I'm going to invite you all, like, it's part of the memory also. You can see it from here, you can go, it's free, you just go walk the sculpture garden, that's what we love to do. Mom was an artist through and through. These paintings go back to when she was probably painting when she was a teenager in her 20s, all of her life. That's what she did. She was a painter. She painted billboards. She painted Mardi Gras floats. That was her life. That's her legacy. We have pictures. We were looking through these pictures, and it's like, wow, what a phenomenal person. You can see it in her work, just what came out of her. And I really appreciate that we're able to have some of the representations of the paintings here today. Really what I want to do now is just kind of open it up to anybody who's in the room who would like to share a memory, a sentiment, just whatever might be on your heart, any thoughts you have, just to feel free to kind of bless us with those memories that you have. And it really will kind of remain in our hearts if anyone has anything to share. So I'm going to just kind of sit and open it up and let anybody, as you feel led, and if you don't, that's great, that's fine. If you do, please, I'm going to just kind of open it up for anybody who.
Well, I'm not accustomed to public speaking, but Jeannie was my younger sister, and hi, Jeannie. Wanted to tell Mike, okay, that she really appreciated, and Tom and Jason too, all of the things that you guys did for her in the last year. It was amazing, okay, the stuff that you were able to do for her and her appreciation. And that was the other thing about her, okay. And you guys didn't mention this, but somehow she found a way to accept everything that was happening to her and approach it all with an attitude that was just phenomenal, really. I can't imagine that anybody else in here has the strength to say, oh, I've got a little cancer today, but you know, I'll be fine tomorrow or something. Yeah. My brother Bill would have loved to have been here. He's pretty much incapacitated. So he told me to send his wishes. And so I think that's sort of what I'm doing here. But I know that she would appreciate seeing everybody that's here today. And I appreciate seeing everybody that's here today and actually seeing some people I haven't seen in many, many years. And actually generating some new friendships, okay, that maybe will last a few more years. But I don't know, she was just phenomenal. Oh, one of the other things I was going to say, you mentioned you going here to City Park. Well, that started a long time ago. Okay. Yeah. My dad and mother used to take us here, and we'd have picnics on Sundays in City Park and do all the kinds of things. So we didn't have a sculpture garden, but this was kind of our haunt, and the trees were our trees, and we climbed them. I remember when Jeannie was over at Jeannie's and broke her arm. That was true. Unfortunately, I left home by the time she was 12, so I missed a whole part of her growing up. My brother Bill was more fortunate. He stayed with her, and they had a much closer relationship than I did. But I came home from college one day, and it might have been, she might have sent me a letter. I think she just gave me a letter telling me how much she had loved me and how much she missed me and stuff like that. And it was just really, I've still got a copy of it, and it's just really the kind of person she was. She really would let you know how she felt about things, and it was always, I can't remember whenever she said something bad about somebody. So anyway, appreciate y'all coming, and that's, oh, the other thing. The other thing. So, my mother and dad died 19 and 20 years ago now. Something like that. And there's no time that I don't still miss them. There's no time that I don't say, I wish Mom was here so I could ask her this question, or I wish Dad was here so I could show him what I was doing. My dad was an amazing person. He could do anything. And I'm still trying to get to the point where I can do anything. But that may come or may not. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Meyer. If anybody doesn't know, I'm been in the family. He was a couple of years older than me, but I always called her my baby sister. There's so many things I could go on today about Jeannie and what she meant to me and all that. But I just really want to relay this. The biggest effect that she had for me was that she was my confidant. And I mean, we shared things like brothers and sisters do and everything, but she and I both had this special kind of thing that we both knew each other's darkest, innermost secrets, and neither one judged either. She never judged anybody. I always said that about her. The other thing that I've always said about Jeannie was I felt like she had gotten some of my mother's wisdom. My mother could talk anybody that had a problem, and she just had this magical ability, and I really think that Jeannie had a good part of that. and was able to do the same kind of things when he needed somebody to talk to. So I think that's having it in the, you know, just when the amount of friends that are here and really knew her. She was just a beautiful person, and she's definitely a big chunk of my heart. It's just nothing right now. So I thank everybody for throwing my motivation down. You guys have been super. This is really great. That's really all I had. I just wanted to say that about Jeannie. Thank you.
If you don't want to be up front, you can just, you know, where you are, it's fine too.
I'm going to be the voice of Guy Molinary. Guy and Jeannie have been childhood friends their whole lives. And Guy is so broken up, and I'm broken up with him. I'm Miss Guy. But anyway, my name is Lori. We've been married 43 years, and I knew Jeannie when I first met Guy. And I knew the boys, and Guy was living on Myrtle Street in New Orleans, and that's when our relationship started back in 1980. So, and I knew about Jeannie. Jeannie was a dear, dear friend of his. You know, he loved Jeannie. She cherished her friendship. And I didn't know her at that time. I just knew they were childhood friends. And over the years, I got to know the boys a little bit when we'd see them, not too often. We started having children, and they always kept in contact. And, you know, after many, many years, the boys grew up, our children grew up. We never lost that. But I wasn't enriched by who she was until we were years into our marriage. And then as time went on and our kids were grown, we got to be friends. We spent a lot of time having breakfasts together, telling stories of the kids and what they were doing, and as they were growing, and then grandchildren. And Jeannie just was the most wonderful person, purest of heart, and just loved her kids, loved her grandkids, was a great friend, talked about her friend Jeannie, talked about friends that she had, was a very faithful person, you know, her parents. So I did get to know a lot about her and her family through her. And this has really broken us to pieces because we did spend a lot of time during her illness. And like Michael said, and like Donald said, and even Jason, she's just so gracious. And even in her worst of days, she held her head high and was positive. You know, she was like, I'm alive until I'm not. And she lived it fully. And I just hope that we all use that as a testament, that that's what we're here for. We're here to live the fullest while we can. It's not over until it's over. And we just keep plunging forward. And she had that positive attitude. And we just loved her. And like I said, my friendship with her grew over the years. And as I got to know her better, and I tell you what, it's an amazing thing to have a friend like that, you know, through thick and thin. And Larry hit it on when he said, you know, Jeannie would be that listener, that person. You know, if you were having a bad day or something was happening, she would have that wisdom. So I just wanted to say that for Guy. I know he has a lot more to say that he's not able to say, but he just really, it's been tough, really tough. I know for all of us. And she's just wonderful, and I want her family to know she was loved by so many. She really was. So thank y'all.
I can say this, she was one of the most intelligent people I knew. She's the most eclectic person I knew. She taught me everything that when it comes to painting and art stuff like that. So I'm gonna miss her. It's good to see everybody in here. I haven't seen y'all since I remember back in the day at Grandma's house for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and we always used to get together and have a good time. Yeah, I miss that stuff. Jeannie's a big part of it. Now, this is nice, everybody. This really is nice.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I met Jeannie when I was 15 years old. I had a problem to talk to her, and she told me I was playing. I made about her and I was playing. She was there for me. She lived right next door when we first got married. And she was there for me when someone came to my house and tried to attack me. And they heard me screaming halfway down the block. And Gary came running over. And after that, me and Jeannie went to some sleep lessons. But yeah, she was my friend. She could only call her sister. So she was my sister. So she was gone. That's right.
Hey Larry, remember really MJ and Jeannie that basically took care of you as you were growing up? They were basically co-babysitters or something. One of the things, they really enjoyed doing that. They had a lot of fun.
Well, I just have a little something to say. I might not be able to say it all, because I may have known Jeannie almost longer than most of y'all in here, because Steve and I have been married almost 53 years, and she was in her wedding. I mean, she wasn't a bridesmaid, but I remember at the table where, back in the day, when all you had was mints, and that sherbet ice cream stuff, and nuts, that's all, and a cake. And she was at that table, so I've got pictures at our wedding of her two little girls. And I haven't been able to be with her as often as all of you guys. But one of the things that meant the most to me, I only had one brother, and I had always wanted a sister. And she was always called me her big sister, and that meant the world to me.
And you were shorter than she.
Yeah. But she was such a precious person, and I just adored her. And we got to take her to Disney World quite a few years ago, and she had so much fun. She couldn't wait to tell people how much fun she had with her big brother and his wife. And then we took a family cruise. Took the family on a cruise not too long ago. And she just raved about the fact that the food was the best she'd ever had, but how much fun she had. And that just meant the world to us, that we could be with her and things like that. But her thinking of me as her sister just meant the world to me.
Grandma's in the slot machine the whole time.
That's a different.
That's a big cruise, and we had a whole bunch of our family.
That was 2006.
Yeah.
And what she's talking about was
The little cruise.
about 4 years ago, we took a river cruise up the Mississippi to Baton Rouge and back with all the brothers and sisters, okay? My brother Bill and MJ and Jeannie and Larry.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of an impressive cruise because I lived in New Orleans almost all my life up until the time I left. And taking the cruise up there, I learned all kinds of stuff about the area that I didn't know. But especially Baton Rouge. I've been through Baton Rouge many times, but we had never stopped to see things. But the food on the cruise was really good, and she liked the idea that they would cater to her, and so she really enjoyed it. Yeah, she let us know so many times.
Tim, that was a fun cruise, though. It was. That's right. Every time we walk in the house with Jeannie, you just light up, and people you hadn't seen in a while. Grandma was always in the slot machine. I didn't even get to play the slot machine. When the Meyer went to that little Meyer place or whatever, jumped in the octopus.
Coach Meyer. Yeah.
So everybody, my name is Dale LeBlanc, and I was Jeannie's oncologist. So I didn't know her early on. She had cancer. She was managed in New Orleans. Somewhere along the line, she was moved to Slidell. So, and then I think I took over her care when when her cancer had recurred. So I took care of her for many years. I have no idea how long. But, you know, most of the times were good times sitting in the chair and talking with her. And most of the visits we'd have together were good visits where she would, where things would be going well, her cancer would respond, and maybe go in remission, but you know, there were some bad meetings there too. And that's when her kids showed up. Because, you know, there was a report that looked like her cancer was progressing, and so I knew when I walked in that door I was going to see one of these men, and I better be prepared to tell the situation where we were, but also to try and give her and them some hope. That we had something else to do and we had somewhere else to go. And towards the end, when her cancer had become quite advanced, and I don't think emotionally or she was failing, but physically she was failing. And I think it helped when we started talking about going into hospice and changing our directions. It really helped having her son being a hospice nurse, because it was already a good concept in her mind. I think she made the transition very well. She was a lovely person. Oh, she was kind of a little, in my mind, I didn't know her well, but I was always impressed when she came in and she would wear something. She struck me as a little hippie, kind of. Very, I don't know, she'd have some, it wasn't outlandish, but it was striking. Okay, the outfit, and I would smile a little bit. And then, I just wanted to say, you know, earlier this year, my dad passed away, and after a wonderful life, he died peacefully. And we had a great service, but the priest there said, you know, people were mourning and everything, and the priest said, you know, please remember that this is a moment of joy too, because, you know, death would be very, I think we grieve so much. If this was it, and we lost our dad and our mother, and that was it, I think it would just be too painful. I just don't think I can get over all of that. But we know through our faith in God and Jesus Christ that we will see them again. And it's only just a moment without them. And that has carried me, and I hope it carries all of y'all For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, so that he who believes in him shall not perish but have life everlasting. Amen. I really didn't want to say anything. I thought this was really for the family, but I just wanted to let y'all know.
Thank you, Doctor.
We're so grateful for you.
I know why she loved you so much. She really did. She spoke of you. I'm a long-time friend of hers. And she talks so, I feel like I know you. Adore you. Never complains. So
I do want to say one thing. Jeannie was my hero and my rock. And my life will never be the same without her. It's already a rough road. Our daily phone calls, just, I can't even tell you how much I'm missing. But I did want to also mention my brother, Bill, who can't be here, he's too ill. And he's another one that just adored her. And he, you know, every day that he could, he called her and encouraged her, and she encouraged him. And it was really a wonderful relationship. And like I say, if he could be here, he would have thrown him on his own if he could. Anyway, I just wanted to.
I'd also like to mention that I've spoken with Uncle Bill on the phone multiple times and communicated with him via text, and he's sorry that he can't be here. And probably 2 or 3 weeks before she passed, he asked how she was doing, and I said she's okay. She's having a tough time, but we're managing. And he said, "Tell her this." He said, "Tell her that she is on my shoulders, and I am carrying her." And I told her that. I said, "Do you know what that means, Mom?" She said, "Yes." And going through all of these pictures and stuff that that Jason and Donald and I have gone through, there was a picture with Uncle Bill at a Mardi Gras parade, dressed, I think in drag or something. I don't even know. And Barbie is on his shoulders, and Monica is on her shoulders, I believe. It was like a triple tower, and her brothers and her sisters have huge shoulders and they've all carried each other. And I can't even imagine the support that we don't even know that Aunt JT and Uncle Steve and MJ and Larry and Bill have given her and everybody throughout the years. Just generous with their money and their time and their attention and their love, and just like my brothers and I support each other. We're not the first ones. We're just part of a family that supports each other and friends that support each other. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying. I mean, that's what's important. So I think that I appreciate everyone being here, and I love you all. And if there's anything I can do or anything that you need, I'm up 24/7. So I haven't slept since Thursday. That's my standard protocol. I sleep.
Slept since 1980.
1980. Yeah, that's when the Saints won the Super Bowl. Wait, no, that was Who Dat and the paper bag. All right, Donald.
Yeah. Is there anybody else before I say some final words? Yes. Yeah, we got one more. Yeah, we may have more.
So I just wanted to kind of echo everybody's sentiment that everybody here is here because we all felt Jeannie's spirit, and how we all know how full of spirit she was. She would walk in a room and just light it up, and didn't matter what we were doing. If she was there, she was having the time of her life, and everybody with her was having the time of their life. because she was there. And I feel like everybody here can really appreciate just what kind of person she was, and she was just amazing. I also think that she did get a lot of genes from Grandma Janet. You know, I feel like she really kind of glued a lot of us together in a lot of ways, just by her presence being there. And I'm just really glad to have been a part of her life and for her to be in mine.
I just wanted to say, Aunt Jeannie was one of the most beautiful people I ever knew, inside and out. Just absolutely an angel. And just I'm remembering like back in the day, going over to her house, and she, I think at this point, like she may have like thrown them around, but like I used to go over there and pick up pennies, and she let me keep all the little pennies I find when I was a little kid. I go over there and read comic books, and you know, she just let me be my goofy self. But I feel like she was really good at just bringing that out, you know, and letting people be who they were. And she was a great woman. I admire her. I miss her. Thank you.
Celebration of life, and I can think of no other life better to celebrate than Jeannie. I met Jeannie through my daughter, through their wedding, her and Larry. And as I followed her life through the years, I could see that she was such an inspiration to so many people, and now I see why. She has so many beautiful people around her, beautiful sons, exquisite friends, loving family, everyone around her. It's just, I think we've all been blessed by Jeannie. I know I had cataract surgery, was it last year? whenever it was. And after my surgery, I'm thinking about Jeannie, and I know she was having difficulties, so I called her. And she's, instead of letting me help her, she's going, oh, I know you had surgery, are you doing well? Are you okay? She just was, she put it all on me, and that was Jeannie. She brought life to everybody in the show.
It's her way of lifting people up.
Yes.
She really did.
So, thank you.
I was going to say that my mom, like, it's a little emotional. Sometimes it's a little difficult. But, so my brother and I, my dad and mom, we would go to New Orleans once or twice every year growing up. And it was magical, I think, for both my brother and I. We loved going to Grandma's house. I just have these real solid memories. They're like vivid paintings in my mind of our childhood there. And the room we would stay in on the second floor, and like part of that memory, every time, was Aunt Jeannie just lived right across the street, just catty corner. And it was every year. I was a child, so I might be inventing some of this, but I seem to recall one of the things that we always wanted to do was go to Aunt Jeannie's. It wasn't because of those things. It was more than anything, Aunt Jeannie, and don't get me wrong, I love Donald and Jason and Mike. We liked being with them and playing because we were roughly the same age, but like everybody said, when you were around Aunt Jeannie, every time I can't get her grin out of my head, that she has this grin, constant smile, never looked mad, never. It was just always right and always good to be around her. And I think others have said that she got that from Grandma, because Grandma was the same. There was always this joy in their being, and it was a foundational part of my childhood and what we did as a family, going to New Orleans every year and seeing Aunt Jeannie and the boys. And it was
it's such a good memory for me, and I'm sure my brother. And she was so, like, it was such a cornerstone of that. She was such a cornerstone of that, I think, when we were growing up. And I couldn't get this out of my head, and I felt like it was just the right time, even though it's somewhat adjacent to Aunt Jeannie. But you know, one of my fondest memories was still going to New Orleans at New Year's, I think, and we were throwing bottle rockets in the street with them. And I'm pretty sure it's because of them that we were doing it. And I threw a bottle rocket into the screen door of a neighbor house, and I just remember just, you know, saying, oh, you know, words for that. And again, it's just a representation of how special that time of my life it was, and how critical Aunt Jeannie and all of her family was to that. And she was very special to me, and I enjoyed every moment I had with her. So.
Thank you, I know those two. I'm not. Why? First, I met her when she was 14, and we fell in love. We got married very young, and this is the result. So proud of that, with the between me and her mama, raised them, taught them good from bad, right from home. We're so proud of her. She was my first love, and she's still here. So it hurts to be as much as it show, even though it's been a long time. But I just want to thank all of y'all for coming out. I really appreciate it. It's good to see old faces again. And I'm just glad we're all here together. And I want to thank you for being the best for me since we were 13, 50 years ago. 13, 14 years old, and Guy has been a rock. This whole time. Yes, ma'am. Sure. Thank you all.
Before Donald closes this out, I kind of took the easy road today, right? I said I don't want to talk about how I feel. I'm fine to stand up and welcome everybody and say this is what we're going to do. But, you know, I think it was Jeannie that you were asking yesterday as we were sitting around our table. And, you know, she was asking my group of friends that I've known since I was 17, that we're all still great friends now. What is it that keeps you guys together, right? And it's the example that she set, right? And it's the same example that allowed my brothers and I to not just be siblings, not to just argue and fight with each other, but to be best friends for our whole lives, right? And it was that example, that model that she set for us that allows us to keep those relationships, right? And be the support system that we all are for each other. And that's why we're all here, because that was the way that she approached life, was that she nurtured relationships with intention, right? If you don't reach out to people, then those relationships become brittle, right? You stop talking to friends, right? But that wasn't the way that she operated. You know, every update that she had in her health, you know, in her life, she reached out to every one of us to text us, this is what's going on with me today. How are you? Right? That's why we're all here. That's why I have the friendships that I do, and I have the relationships that I do with my brothers. And it's been an honor for us to put this together for her. And I think it's come out extremely well. Right? I said at the beginning that this was going to be a short program. I thought we might talk about half an hour. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes now. Right? I'm really thankful for everybody that has stood up to speak, you know, and share. You know, I know it's a little awkward, and we're like, who's going to get up next, right? but we all have something to say, and I appreciate that everybody has contributed. Thanks all.
I'd also like to thank Ken and Jeannie and Dawn for, for this, because I know that I didn't want this together. I know that somebody got all the flowers, and these are just beautiful. And I'm a mathematical person. I'm like, why do we need flowers on everything? But I mean, it's just, this is perfection, so thank you.
I'd like to say, Sarah, my children, actually, sorry, let me just start by saying that what comes to mind for me is magic. I've never met anybody like this woman, Jeannie, was to our home, to our life, and to my kids. My oldest was her first grandbaby, and so there was a very, very special bond there. And I know that Jeannie helped raise me in those formative years of being a new mom, and I know that she impacted my whole life and my kids' lives because of her magical, beautiful self. And I'm so very grateful that she's part of my life and that I get to be part of this family in my own role where I'm at, but grateful that her magic is in my kids, and I get to see it regularly, and I'm really grateful, really grateful. Thank you.
Mom loved being a mother. She said, and maybe she was just saying this because she thought it was nice to say that, one of the things she wanted most out of life was to be a mom. And boy, did she show up. And I feel so blessed to just have spent my life with her and all of the modeling that she did. Mom also really loved life, and I think she held on for as long as she did because she just loved being alive, and what really made that meaningful were her relationships, and it was the relationships with